Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the GM. It is your guy, Boulanger. Up next, we're going to still be talking about the Baltimore Ravens vulnerabilities. Do me a quick favor, hit like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you get updates when we upload new content. Let's go. So, as I teased in the opener, the Baltimore Ravens have a complete team as far as talent, depth, and impact players. But I think they still have some vulnerable areas that may leave them on the outside looking in. Okay. There's a lot of buzz right now about one Colin Cowherd, who is just really just a sports talk show host, a sports pundit who, does not really think highly of the Baltimore Ravens, what they have going on this year. And so this is not in regards to anything that he has said. This is just me talking about and taking a look at our wide receiver room, which I think we're still vulnerable. And I think we're still um, on a scale of 1 to 10 being vulnerable, 10 being very vulnerable, one being not vulnerable at all. I think we're a 5. I think we're half and half, which is too much of a risk for me. Now, do I think the Baltimore Ravens should go out and make a trade? No. Do I think they should just sign DeAndre Hopkins because he's still available? No, unless he's been signed by the Patriots at the time of this video. But so that's not what I'm saying. I'm just taking a real look at the Baltimore Ravens position group by position group, and I think they were super vulnerable at the wide receiver position. Well, Belanger, you were high on Odell. I was and still am. You were high on Zay Flowers. I was and still am. Okay. And to be honest, I'm even more um, excited about Nelson Aguilar based on the things I've heard all season. He's the if I can say this without anybody being mad at me, Nelson Aguilar has been the best wide receiver on the Baltimore Ravens roster the entire off season. So, and I know that a lot of guys are recovering from injury and getting back in shape and doing all these kind of things to get ready for the season. But Aguilar has showed up time after again, made play after play again, and been impressive. Okay. And so right now, Nelson Aguilar is our literal number one receiver. Now, what I mean by that is not that he's going to be listed that way on the depth chart, but based on his performance in this off season, he's the number one receiver. Okay. And if Nelson Aguilar is our number one receiver, we have some problems. All right. So let's take a look at our wide receiver group. Not depth chart, not starters and things like that, but just the group. Okay, we go Odell Beckham Jr. Okay. Odell Beckham Jr., I think, still has a lot of gas in his tank. But Odell Beckham has been a player that we have not seen in 2 years. Let's just be honest. Now, I know you guys have all seen the videos. You've seen him catch the ball. You've seen him make some plays. You see him run routes, and it's exciting. 100% is exciting. It's exciting to think that that could be what the Baltimore Ravens have in store for the league when the regular season starts. But we understand that this is preseason, not preseason, like where games are happening, of course, but this is preseason, meaning before the season starts. Everything looks good when you're running against no competition. Everything looks good when you're running in shorts and t-shirt. Everybody looks fast and quick and things of that nature. Okay? Because there's little to no resistance. Am I saying I don't believe in Odell Beckham? No, I don't say that at all. I wouldn't have been excited about him if I didn't believe in him. Okay. But my thing is I want to temper my expectations. Okay. I want to temper my expectations because I don't know. Right. See, I understand 100% of the teams in the NFL, all 32, of course, don't know what they're going to have in their wide receiver group. But a lot of teams are coming in already knowing what their wide receivers have done, what they've already shown, right? We don't have any evidence of what Odell Beckham is going to do for us. He hasn't played in 2 years, basically, and that's a fact. Okay, so everything we hope is on pure potential. Everything we hope and talk about is on pure speculation that Odell Beckham can do A, B, and C, but we don't know. That's why it makes us vulnerable at the wide receiver position because we're banking on what we don't know. All right. Let me leap out here and say this. The Baltimore Ravens, even on paper, have a bottom 10 wide receiver group on paper. Now, Belanger, you done lost your mind. I'm finna get off. I'm finna get off this video. No, but pay attention to what I'm saying. Think about what I'm saying. Odell Beckham hasn't played in 2 years, basically. Does he have a lot of gas left? Yes. But we don't know what that's gonna look like. How's that gonna translate to the field? Okay. So with Odell, there's a huge question mark. Okay, so let's go one step further. Okay, let's look at who could be the number two. Well, let's go Rashad Bateman. Well, as of last week, Rashad Bateman was taking a cortisone shot. Now, I don't know how many of you know what cortisone shots are for, if you've ever had one, but cortisone shots typically are for pain reduction. It's for and basically based on pain reduction based on inflammation, which means here we are some I think he had that surgery late October, November of last year. So we're looking November, December, January, February, March, April, May. Here we are some almost 8.5 months later, and he's still he's taking cortisone shots now. And John Harbaugh says he should be ready for training camp. He can't be too ready for training camp if he's taking cortisone shots almost a month before training camp starts. You see, it's too much of a question. Okay, here we have a number two wide receiver who has a lot of, again, here's that word, potential. He has a lot of potential. So we have to speculate on what he could look like mixed with Odell Beckham. You understand what I'm saying? See, we don't have a guarantee. Rashad Bateman has been a Baltimore Ravens for 2 years. In 2 years, he has not completed a season. He's missed as many games as he's played. So here we have another guy that we have a huge question mark about. And he's not healthy at this point in time. So here we are, 2 for 2. Huge question marks. Okay. So let's go to right now. I'm gonna go Nelson Agholor. Okay. I'm gonna put him over Zay, not because he's better than Zay, none of that. I'm just saying what we've seen, what we've heard. He's been the best receiver on this roster. Okay. But it's a question mark about Nelson Agholor. Why is it a question mark? Because is he going to have to play a position, a role that he's not equipped to play in? Now, he's been a number one as far as performance in this offseason workout, but he's not a number one wide receiver. And so can he slot safely into a number two if Bateman ain't ready? Maybe. But is that going to put pressure on him that he's not able to withstand? See, we don't know that. We haven't seen Agholor really ball out. Can he ball? Yes. Can he make a big play from that slot position? Yes. But Nelson Agholor is primarily a slot player. That's what he played mostly when he was with the Raiders. That's what he played mostly when he was with the Philadelphia Eagles. They tried to play him outside some, but he ended up being more of a slot. And I'm cool with that. I'm not against that. He's athletic, he's fast, and he has some hands, although he had some drops at parts of his career, but he has some hands. Okay. So I'm gonna put a check mark beside Agholor. Okay, Zay. I'm gonna put him after Agholor. Okay. He's a rookie. And I don't want to put too much pressure on a rookie. Now, can he fill a role? Yeah. Yeah, he has speed, he has quickness, he has, he's a deep threat ability. He has deep threat ability. But it's a question mark on what he can do at the NFL level because we haven't seen it. See, it's more difficult for a shorter wide receiver to really lead a team. You know what I'm saying? They're rare. They're really rare. You have to be a Steve Smith type, which, he's been compared to Steve Smith. You have to be a Tyreek Hill type who has electric ability. You have to be a Antonio Brown type. And I don't know if Zay is that. Did he look like that in college? A combination of all of those guys rolled up into one. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Maybe. But is he going to be there at the NFL level? Facing the NFL scheme? I don't know. And none of us know. We can talk about his lack of quarterback play in college, but it's still a question mark at the NFL level. So out of 4 wide receivers, possibly our top 4, there's only one guy we can somewhat put a check mark beside, and that's Aguilar, because he's been on it. He's been in the NFL for a while now, 7 years, I think. He does have a lot of ability still left. He does still have speed, and he has been great this offseason. So I can put a plus mark beside. I've heard some great things about Zay. I have. But again, everybody looks good in short and t-shirts. So we'll see. Okay. We have to wait and see on Zay. Okay, let's look at another guy who's been in the NFL for 3 years. It's his 4th year, Devin Duvernay. Devin Duvernay is a punt returner and a kick returner. Very, very dangerous, elite speed. And he can make some plays with the ball in his hands. He can. But is he gonna be healthy this year? Right? Is he gonna be healthy? And then how much run will he get at the wide receiver position with those other guys ahead of him? He may not get that much unless somebody goes down, which is possible. See, our guys, the guys that we have on this roster, are talented. Okay, they're talented, have a lot of potential. But until we can have evidence of that happening in a regular season, it's still a question mark. Okay, let's keep moving. We picked up Laquan Treadwell. Big guy, you know, big body receiver, possession guy, chain mover. But Laquan Treadwell, in all of the seasons he's been in the league, he doesn't even have more than 1,500 yards receiving. So could he be a good, possession guy? Yeah. Could he be a red zone threat? Yeah, absolutely. But will he make the roster? I don't know. And if he does, what will be his impact? Because right now he's sitting behind Devin Duvernay, which will put him in the 6th position. Are they going to keep 6? Didn't hear anything about him coming out of mandatory minicamp. Not one word. So if somebody heard something, please let me know for sure. See, I'm not being pessimistic. I'm just having an honest conversation about where our vulnerability is. And then the last guy I'm going to acknowledge at the wide receiving core, I'm not going to do Tylan Wallace or Prochet, because Tylan Wallace and Prochet have been there for a number of years at this point and have not made any noise. As a matter of fact, it's so super surprising not to even hear Prochet's name at this point, because he's the MVP of minicamp and off-season workouts, but hadn't heard him at all at this point. But I'm gonna go with Tariq Black. He's a big wide receiver. If I'm remembering correctly, he's about 6'3", 200 plus pounds. So he creates a friendly target for a quarterback. Big body, big catch range. And I did hear about his route running in minicamp. I did hear about his playmaking, him making some catches and things like that. So could he push for a 5th or 6th spot? Because he offers something that only Treadwell offers, which is a big bodied receiver. So could Tariq Black continue to make steps and edge somebody out on this roster? Possibly. Possibly he could. But guess what that is? Another question mark. So when we look at every single one of our receivers, we only have a guy who is a veteran, who has shown up this offseason and balled out. And I know, again, shorts and t-shirt. And so I'm just aware that we have some vulnerabilities. And when I said that the Baltimore Ravens have a bottom 10 wide receiving group, I'm not being facetious. I can name off 15 wide receiving groupings that's better than us right now. And if I think real hard, I can name more than that. Yeah, the Bengals, the Steelers, the Browns. Okay. You have just in the AFC, Miami. Okay. You have Buffalo, even if Stephon Diggs may want out. We'll talk about that in another video. Even if Stephon Diggs want out, he's still a part of Buffalo right now. Okay, that's up to 6. The Jets wide receiving group is better than ours. That's 7. Okay, we jump over to the AFC West. The Broncos wide receiving group right now is better than ours with Cortland Sutton, Tim Patrick, and Jerry Jeudy. The Oakland Raiders wide receiving group is better than ours with Hunter Renfrow and Devontae Adams. So we're up to 9 right there. The Jacksonville Jaguars with what they showed you last year in their wide receiving group, that's 10. Okay. If we jump out of the AFC, and you guys can disagree with me if you think a grouping is not better than ours. But I'm basing on what they did last year. Okay. If you base our guys on what they did last year, we're in the bottom 10. Even if you account Zay for being a rookie, and so he was in college last year, we're still a bottom 10. Remember, our wide receivers only had a collective of 1,500 yards last year, the whole season. All we did was add Odell Beckham and Nelson Aguilar. Odell didn't play last year at all, and Aguilar may have had 500 yards. I don't know. I didn't check his stats. And so I'm up to 10, and I'm not even near the Ravens. So if we go over here to the NFC, okay, you got Washington with McLaurin and Curtis Samuel. I'm gonna put them above the Ravens, based on what they've proven. The Philadelphia Eagles, the Dallas Cowboys. Okay, we're up to 13, 14. Minnesota, Justin Jefferson had more receiving yards by himself than our whole wide receiving group. So I'm gonna go Minnesota. I'm gonna go Chicago with DJ Moore and Chase Claypool. Okay. Um, if you go out all the way west, you got Seattle 16, San Francisco 17, the Rams with Cooper Kupp 18. You see what I'm saying? We up to 18. And I'm sorry, Tampa 19. New Orleans. I'm gonna take Chris Olave, based on what he did last year as a rookie, and a healthy Michael Thomas. See, so that's 20 right there, and and we can debate it out with New Orleans, but I'm saying that's still low, and I know that there's some teams that I forgot, and so I'm just saying that's a vulnerable area, and so I'm not wanting the Ravens to go out and trade, but I want to have reasonable expectations. That's why the first take about being vulnerable is so important. The running back vulnerability, the running backs being vulnerable. You know what I'm saying? And then we got the wide receiver group that's vulnerable because we have more questions than answers. That makes the offense vulnerable. And you know what that does? That puts more pressure on Lamar Jackson. Because when there's more questions than answers, he has to be the answer. You see what I'm saying? When everything broke down in the past, Lamar Jackson had to step up and do it all. Am I saying he can't step up and do it all? I'm not saying that at all. I just want to create reasonable expectations, and so that you see, because I've already heard the rumors, I've already heard the chirping, I've already heard the criticism. Can Lamar do X, Y, and Z in this new offense? I've already heard it. Whether it's at the local barbershop or whether it's in other videos, I've already heard it. And so I know that we boosted the Ravens The media boosted, oh, the Ravens, they did this, they added Odell and Zay and Nelson Aguilar, blah, blah, blah. But think about that. We added Odell, Zay Flowers, a rookie, and Nelson Aguilar. And that created the best supporting cast he's ever had. But if I just ripped off 20 teams who possibly have better wide receiving groups than ours. So what did they do? We put together a bottom 10 wide receiving group, which makes it the best group he's ever had, which is kind of oxymoronic in some aspects. So let's temper our expectations. Let's see how people get healthy. I think Bateman is going to be super important to get healthy. But it's not looking good if he's taking cortisone shots mid-June. It's not looking good. At this point, I know he was, and that sounds more like a setback, if I'm honest. Because remember, in minicamp or OTAs, excuse me, he was on the field running. But now last week he's taking cortisone shots. It don't sound good for Rashad Bateman. So listen, let me know if you guys got any news, any updates, any injury updates on any of the guys that's been injured. Bate, Duve, Gus, from our first video. Let me know what you guys have heard, if you guys got any news. Because like I said, I've been away, I've really been listening and looking, but I haven't seen any more recent updates. So let me know what you guys want me to know, man. I'm your guy Boulanger. This is the GM, and I'm out.